Hey, what's up? It's Jared with State of Tech, and I have the HomePod here. We're going to do a review of it. We're going to talk about it. I just finished up a live stream where I talked about it on YouTube here. I'm going to do a lot more of these live streams. I think it's great to be able to interact and talk about these products together. I think that that is something that's missing from these like review videos. Like I could talk about this product until I'm blue in the face, but a lot of you end up having questions that are really interesting. And though I love to answer them in the comment section below, so if you have any questions about it, ask. Being able to do that live and actually like, well, let's try that or let's figure that out is fantastic. And it was really kind of fun to be able to do that in the live stream. And so I'm going to be doing that from now on. Whenever I do these product reviews, we're going to do a live stream first, and then I'll film my video after that. And so make sure that you subscribe to the channel here. Click on that subscribe button. Click on that little bell that notifies you when we go live, because you don't want to miss out on those. And right now I'm not like basically doing them according to some schedule. So you'll want to make sure that you're notified when we do those. So I've got the HomePod. Like, let me break down why I decided to purchase this. I purchased it because it's an Apple speaker. And Apple has produced some pretty fantastic speakers over the years. They had a speaker that they came out with that you can like dock your phone in the top of. This was a number of years ago, and it was fantastic. I used it way past its prime when I couldn't even dock a phone into it anymore because it was, the wrong, they switched over to the Lightning. I had it for quite a while and finally got rid of it just because I wasn't using it anymore, but I would take that thing everywhere. The audio quality was fantastic. It was loud. It was nice, sleek design. It had good battery life. Like, Apple knows how to make speakers. And even though we might not, lately think about that because they keep making their phones and their tablets and their laptops smaller and smaller, and you can't really get like fantastic audio quality out of those devices, like Apple knows how to make some speakers. Like, this is no different. Like, the best audio quality out of a small little device is going to come from a HomePod, like especially a smart device. Whether you're thinking, a Google Home type device or, an Alexa type device, like this is hands down the better of the audio experiences. So let's ask it to play something. Hopefully YouTube won't end up flagging my video over it. So I'm going to ask it to play Mozart, and hopefully it'll pick something in the public domain and I won't get in trouble. So, hey Siri, play some Mozart.
Playlist Mozart now playing.
Hey Siri, turn the volume up 100%.
That's very loud. Are you sure?
Yes. So not bad, not bad. I know it's really hard to kind of get an idea. I've got my microphone right here, but you're really going to have to get your hands on one of these devices to understand and kind of experience the audio quality. Obviously, you can ask this thing many other questions. Siri isn't the best at this, and one of the reasons that I have my other smart devices here, my iPad, my phone, just is to see like because you can use, if you're with one of these devices by itself, you can ask it that trigger phrase and it will start listening and answer your question or do whatever. So having all these devices here, it's interesting to see how well they play together. Because technically I have like the watch, the phone, the pod, the iPad, all right here. And so how do they interact with each other is also of interest to me. They don't really do a whole lot together. Like I can, if I want to send anything, any audio or whatever from my phone or my tablet, I have to use AirPlay, which is kind of a bummer. I can't like send anything to it. I can't use this as a speaker. Like say I'm watching a YouTube video on my phone. I can't then tell it to use the HomePod as the speaker. I mean, I can AirPlay it to it and it will do that, but that's the only way to do it. I can't like tell it to do it, which is kind of a bummer. For example, maybe I was watching some longer YouTube video or a podcast using my Apple TV, and then I wanted to have it continue to play that in another room. Like that whole process is broken. It doesn't work. And, one could say that maybe on another device like the the Google Home, like that might not work that well either. But at least with the Google Home, I can use other services such as Spotify or any other app that they support, which is quite a few of them. Whereas the HomePod Apple doesn't support anything other than Apple Music. And then the playing of things across multiple devices, that doesn't work too well either. So the smart device aspects of this are not completely there. I've also found that with Siri, you really have to kind of tell it a lot more in order to get it to do what you want it to do. For example, with my Google Home, I can come in and greet it and it will give me information back in return. With this, if I say, "Hey Siri, good afternoon,"
Good afternoon to you, too.
Siri greets me back, which is totally useless. Like, why did Apple decide that, like, we want to be, be a friend to Siri and ask Siri, like, I want information back. So I have to be more specific. I have to ask Siri specific information, like, "Hey Siri, what's the temperature outside?"
Brr. It's 48 degrees outside.
"Hey Siri, what's the weather like outside?"
It's currently partly cloudy and 48 degrees in Modesto. Expect rain starting in the afternoon, then cloudy skies tonight. Temperatures are heading down from 48 degrees this afternoon to 42 tonight.
"Hey Siri, what's the recent news?"
Here's the latest news from Fox News. You can also tell me to switch to NPR, CNN, or The Washington Post.
Banning bump stocks. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump meeting with the nation's governors
Hey,
at
Siri,
the White
stop.
House this morning, talking about ways to...
So with news, like, if I wanted to listen to news, I could set up on Google Home a whole list of news sources that I wanted to just go through. I haven't been able to figure out how to do that with the HomePod to where I could say, like, play the latest news, and then it just plays through all the things. HomePod wants me to start listening to like NPR and CNN and all that stuff, which is fine. But every time, and it did remember that I listened to Fox News last time, and so it will remember your news source, but it will always ask you every single time to switch to a different one. It doesn't seem to like ever get done doing that. So every time I want to listen to the news, it reminds me that I can also switch it to another one, which is fine, but there's no way for me to even say like, okay, I want to listen to Fox News, I want to listen to NPR Technology, and like even list all these out, because I can do that on a HomePod, but I can do that on a Google Home Max, but I can't do that on a HomePod. So with that said, I mean, there's limitations there. Another thing that Siri just isn't really good at, and the HomePod doesn't make it any better or any worse, is like conversational search. So for example, if I was to ask, "Hey Siri, who is the MVP of the 2018 Super Bowl?"
Sorry, I don't know the answer to that one.
Well, that's the one that it wasn't able to answer. I know that it can answer like, "Hey Siri, who won the Super Bowl?"
The NFL season is over. The Eagles defeated the Patriots in the Super Bowl by a score of 41-33 on February 4th, 2018.
So that's fine, but asking it some things that are more conversational are a little bit tricky. So like, for example, "Hey Siri, recommend a nearby restaurant."
The highest rated option I see is El Perro Taco Truck, a Mexican place on North Carpenter Road in Modesto, which averages 5 stars according to Yelp. Would you like to hear the next one?
How about Chinese food?
One possibility I see is Dadding Express on Tully Road in Modesto, which averages 4 stars and is inexpensive. It's open today, from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Would you like to hear the next one?
No, thanks. So that's actually not bad. Like in the past, I've tried doing this with Siri, try to have conversational search going, and it didn't work too well. So they're getting better at this. I think that, Apple knows the limitations of Siri. They have to know that Siri is subpar to like Google search, or, whatever they're calling, Google Now or whatnot. That whole Google Assistant is what I was looking for. But anyways, that whole experience with Siri is not as good. But simple things like that, like let's see. I'm failing at maybe some options of things to ask, but the restaurant one was pretty good in the sense that you would want to start a conversation by asking something specific and then be able to ask it without having to ask the entire question over again. So it's good to see that HomePod can actually do a little bit of that. I haven't found it to be nearly as good as Google Assistant through like Google Home or Google Home Max, but nonetheless, Siri seems to be getting a little bit better at that. So the speaker here, it has, speakers going all the way around. It has 7 integrated tweeters. It has a subwoofer in the top. It has microphones all the way around too. So this device really is designed to kind of be in the center of your room. You can put it in the corner, you could put it up against a wall, and it is automatically going to detect that and get better at producing audio when it is backed into a corner. But I think that this is designed to kind of be out in the open. That's why, the plug here that is non-removable and isn't a lot nicer of a plug is the way that it is, I think, because I wouldn't mind this sitting on a table in the middle of my room with a cable coming off of it that looked like this. Whereas the cables that come off of most other devices are unsightly or just not really that attractive and, it just doesn't look that good. I wouldn't want that in the middle of my room. I'd want to put that against a wall so that the cable can go back behind the device. The HomePod really just looks good out in the open, and that's kind of how Apple designs everything. I mean, even their iMacs, their Mac Pro, the like trash can looking computer that they designed several years ago, like that was designed to be on the top of your desk, not under your desk like most computers were before. Like Apple designs their stuff to be out in the open and to be seen. And I do like that about Apple's products because they're not cheap, they're expensive. So you want to kind of have that on display. You want people to be able to see it and kind of see what your stuff that you've got. Apple does a great job at designing that. There isn't really a whole lot else for me to say about this device other than the fact that my personal experiences are better with the Google device, though the audio quality is a little bit better on this device than with the Google devices, and definitely a lot better than the audio quality with the Alexa devices. But it really comes down to what you're going to use it for. Now, I listen to music sometimes on these devices, but not very loud. Because at home, like I have a wife and kids around, there's a lot of other noise going on and stuff like that around. So I'm not just going to be able to blast music all the time. At my office, like I've got neighbors and I have, we're trying to do work here, so I can't really blast the audio either. But we do like to listen to music sometimes at a reasonable audio level. And the HomePod definitely sounds great. But so does the Google Home and the Google Home Max at, decent audio levels. So it really comes down to what overall experience is best for me. And considering that I like to use my Android device from time to time, I also like to use other audio music streaming apps. I'm definitely going to have to side with something other than this. But for those of you that want the best Apple experience, that are all in on the Apple ecosystem, you listen to your music through Apple Music, you use Siri a little bit, but don't mind the Siri shortcomings, this is definitely a great device. I mean, it's a well worth purchase, I think, for those of you who are all in on that Apple experience or Apple ecosystem. So with that said, that's going to end my review. I know that many of you may have questions. You can ask them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer those. If you missed out on the live stream, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Click on that little bell because we'll be doing some live streams with future products before we do our reviews. I'll make sure to tweet out that we're going to be going live soon and stuff, so you can follow State of Tech on Twitter, which is @State of Tech. We'll do our best to kind of put it out there that we're going to be live streaming before we actually live stream so that we can all take part in looking at this product together. I think it's a great way to learn and experience these products is together rather than just in some random review video that some dude like me decided to make. So thanks again for checking out this video. I hope you liked it. Click that thumbs up button, and I hope to see you back here in the next one. Take care.